Hello everyone, welcome to our video presentation towards an art movement entitled Optical Art. I am Vincent Panganoran. Together with Mark Lister Punay, we are going to present to you this topic. First, overview for this presentation. Number 1 is the introduction of optical art. Number 2 is its origin. Number 3, the father of optical art. Number 4, its characteristics and elements. Number 5, significance of optical art. And lastly, artists and their famous works. So what is an optical art? OP art is an abbreviation of optical art, a form of geometric abstract art that explores optical sensation through the use of visual effects, such as recurring simple forms and rhythmic patterns, vibrating color combinations, Moire patterns, and foreground-background confusion. Formally, all OP art paintings and works employs tricks or visual perception like manipulating rules of perspective to give the illusion of three-dimensional space, mixing colors to create the impression of light and shadows. Next is the origin of optical art. The roots of OP art in terms of graphic and color effects can be traced back to Impressionism, Cubism, Futurism, and Dadaism. But the movement perhaps more closely derives from constructivist practices of the Bauhaus. The German school stressed the relationship of forms and function within a framework of analysis and rationality, which led to mirroring the counterculture of the time in embrace of graphic shapes and bright colors. At that time, artists like M.C. Escher, Victor Vasarely, and Joseph Albers experimented with what is now considered an optical art. Albers' work are studies in color perception, while Escher's work employs paradoxical placement, visual trickery, as well as errors of perspective in forms and structures that seems plausible at first glance. Next is the father of optical art. The artist known as the grandfather of optical art is French-Hungarian artist Victor Vasarely, whose painting, titled Zebras 1938, is by many art historians considered one of the earliest examples of OP art. He is considered to be one of the most important representatives of optical painting. He took inspiration and orientation from theories of Bauhaus, suprematism, which used geometric shapes in their painting, and geometric abstraction. He was born in Pécs, Hungary in 1906 and grew up in Piestany and Budapest, where he became acquainted with basics of traditional academic painting as well as the Bauhaus movement. Much of Vasarely's life and work was about OP art style. His paintings aim at forcing people out of their visual comfort zone with the pleasant tension created by apparently moving images that steer their minds towards doubt and new ideas. He wanted to bring life into everyday life with the play of colors and shapes, immersing himself in the world of optical experiments. So these are the examples of his works, famous works of Victor Vasarely. Next is the characteristics or elements of an optical art. OP art is a style of non-objective abstract art featuring optical illusions and ambiguities that rose to prominence in the 1960s. While artists had long been drawn to investigations of optical effects, New advancements in technology and the psychology of perception gave rise to a concentrated period of exploration in this area. A diverse international movement with exponents in the United States, Britain, France, and South America. OP art produced a range of artistic tendencies. The style, evoking virtual movement, is also often associated with kinetic art. Both have historical antecedents in Dada and the Bauhaus. Using purely geometric forms, lines, and a pattern in stark black and white, or boldly contrasting colors, OP artists engage in purposeful manipulation of formal relationship to produce novel visual effects from the subtle to the mind-bending. Keywords of the characteristics or elements of an optical art. First is visual illusion, means hidden imagery. Next is illusion of movement. Kinetic art, which means a perceivable movement with the use of patterns and repetition. Next is repetitive forms, by using some patterns. Next is checkered board patterns, which some of the artists like Bridget Riley use in her art. Next is tension, bending and swelling, giving an illusion of depth. And lastly, complementary colors, the use of bold colors or sometimes black and white colors.
Significance of optical art. According to experts, optical illusions help you to make your brain sharper. They make you think hard about how a certain thing is possible, lead you to understand the working of a human brain and how interesting it is. It also actually helps understanding the difference between looking and seeing. The latter term has a broad and general meaning, whereas the former refers to observing something with an intention of comprehension. We always try to seek meaning when we observe new things, especially those in an artistic manner. In short, optical illusions provide you with lots of food for thought, which intensifies and heightens your thinking process. It can also help your child to develop good cognitive abilities, and parents can use these games to train their kids' mind. According to some health experts, optical illusions also help you in stimulating the right side of the brain, which is usually not used by many people. Apart from sharpening your memory, these games help you to improve your problem-solving skills, visual recalling, and spatial reasoning abilities by contributing to your intelligence. The most important benefit is that magic and optical illusions are fun to indulge in and are great sources of fruitful recreation. Next is optical artists and their works. First, Relativity, 1953, by Maurits Cornelis Escher. Escher was a Dutch graphic artist who made woodcuts, lithographs, and mezzotins, many of which were inspired by mathematics. Second, La Scienza della Pigrizia, The Science of Laziness, 1984, by Frank Stella. Frank Stella is an American artist best known for his use of geometric patterns and shapes in creating both paintings and sculptures. Third, Homage to the Square with Rays, 1959, by Joseph Albers. Albers is an American artist and educator who is considered one of the most influential 20th century art teachers in the United States. Lastly, Descending, 1996, by Bridget Riley. Bridget Riley is one of the best-known optical art painters, famous for her striking murals composed of multiple stripes which create optical illusions for the viewer.